Is Ardnamurchan the best young distillery in Scotland? Let's talk about it. Hey guys, welcome back to Whiskey on the West Coast. My name is Matt. Today we're going to be talking about Ardnamurchan Highland Single Malt Scotch Whisky Cask Strength. Now, Ardnamurchan is a peninsula off the west coast of Scotland. It is the westernmost point on the mainland of the United Kingdom as far as I understand it. It's home to about 2,000 people, and it's known for its ruggedness and unspoiled beauty. And if you take a look at some pictures online, just Google it, it really does look like a gorgeous place. Now, on Ardnamurchan Peninsula, we have Ardnamurchan Distillery, owned by Adelphi. Now, Adelphi is an independent bottler, and it's kind of part of a trend of independent bottlers owning their own distilleries, with Gordon MacPhail owning Benromic and Signatory owning Edredar. Now, Ardnamurchan started distilling in 2014. That's when the first spirit came off their stills. And they've been making peated and unpeated distillate since then. They have a capacity of about 400,000 liters per annum. Maximum capacity of 500,000, but they're running close to 400,000. On top of this, they have a decently long fermentation time. This particular bottle was fermented for 76 hours, but they run 72 to 96 hours. When it is peated distillate, it is about 30 to 35 phenol parts per million. And the distillery itself does a lot of things the right way. We're talking about, they have a traditional dunnage warehouse on site. They have wooden washbacks on site too. They also have steel. When they bottle things, they're bottling at natural color and at non-chill filtered. They're doing things the right way because they have a company behind them that is really committed to quality. Now, on top of this, they want to be as transparent as possible with you, the whiskey lover. And one of the ways they do this is they actually maybe overshare information. Each bottle is registered on the blockchain, and you can look up your individual bottle using a QR code on the back of the bottle or the box. So if you look here, there's a QR code right on the back. And if you go ahead and scan this QR code, which I'll try to do quickly here to demonstrate, you are given a wealth of information. So for instance, in this case, my particular bottle of Ardnamurchan is number 847 out of over 12,000. Now furthermore, we get right down to who bottled this bottle of whiskey. Kelly Combe, thank you very much, Kelly. What date it was bottled, Valentine's Day 2022. And more importantly, they give you information as to the makeup of this whiskey. We're talking about how long it was fermented for. Again, this one was 76 hours. What the cut points were. We're talking about 65 to 75% for Ardnamurchan Cask Strength in this case. And it goes down to cask makeup. How many casks were Ex-Bourbon? How many were Sherry? What year they were distilled? Now, they've been distilling since 2014. There is 2014 distillate in this Cask Strength release, the AD0222. There's also 2015 distillate. Most of it is 2015, but there is a mixture of both. That puts this whiskey at roughly 6 to 7 years old. Mainly 6-year-old whiskey in here. They used 45 Ex-Bourbon barrels, and they used 5 Sherry Hogsheads as well. It's a vatting of 84% peated distillate, along with 16% unpeated, which averages right under 30 phenol parts per million average. Again, they overshare information. They're very transparent, and personally, I love it. The more information, the better. I want to know everything I can about my whiskey. Now, this is the first Cask Strength release. It is bottled at 58.7%. And again, as I mentioned earlier, natural color, non-chill filtered. It's just a thing of beauty. And I'm super excited. I kind of nerd out over this distillery because I have had previous releases of their AD 01-2101, I believe is the batch. I believe it's their second release. And I really enjoyed that whiskey. So let's get to the review of this one. All right, let's dig into this nose. Every time I've nosed this whiskey, the first thing I get is Rockets candies. Now, I just want to be very clear. I'm talking about what Canadians call Rockets candies. Americans would call them, oh gosh, what do you call them? Smarties. You call them Smarties. But they're these like little chalky, kind of sour, powdery, little tiny candies that you usually get like at Halloween. Just every time I get this chalkiness paired with this sweetness. It's literally Rockets candy. And it might be paired with some lemon citrus too, but let's say lemon citrus Rockets candies. And that chalkiness, really evident. Some brine, some salty maritime notes. It's mineralic, might be slightly fainty, like there's almost like a sort of a varnish tone to it, but that kind of dissipates quite quickly actually. There's a touch of like foam banana candies, and that might speak to a little bit of the youth on this, but again, I only get that probably half the time. And the longer it's uncovered, the less I get that. Some pineapple, some boiled sweets, so like hard candies. Yeah, very sweet nose, but it's balanced with this almost like spent campfire. Like it's a cold smoke. Yeah, it's a subtle cold smoke in the background. First thing you get is that sweetness, some malt, some honey, and a very effervescent nose. It's a bright nose. Might speak to the youth. It might just speak to the fact it's also cask strength, and it just wants to jump out of the glass at you. Yeah, really enjoy this nose. Lots going on. All right, let's try the palate. Right off the top, honey and vanilla, almost like honey and nuts. So maybe some like caramelized nuts. Huge malt note. Then some pepper, some chili flake. Yeah, and almost like a herbal sort of like mintiness or eucalyptus. And then leading into peat smoke, rich smoke, a tobacco note. So I'm thinking more like pipe tobacco plus smoke. Might be getting some of that sherry spice off those sherry casks too. But yeah, leather, smoke, really nice balance between the sweetness and the savoriness of that smoke. Yeah, I need another sip right now. So all those things I said earlier, but I can't miss the citrus. Lemon, maybe more orange, certainly citrus. And again, coastal. There's a brine note towards the end of the palate that's making itself very evident. There's also almost like a going back to that mint or eucalyptus note. There's a herbaceousness to this, which is almost a little bit drying as you're approaching the finish. Talking about the fruits too, it's mainly citrus for me. In the past, I thought I picked up melon. I'm not getting that tonight. Let's take another sip and investigate this finish a little bit more, then get to the score. So again, salty, just very coastal, malty, smoke. It's a very pleasant kind of dry smoke, rich smoke that balances with that sweet again. And it just sort of drifts away. Again, that dryness, it's really well balanced with the sweetness too. This is a gorgeous whiskey. It really is. Now, being at cask strength, you can play with water a bit. And you might have noticed I added some water there. And when I've been playing with it, I've enjoyed almost about 2 water droppers full of water. 24 drops is what I've been really enjoying for drinking strength. And there, I'm just finding with water, much more obvious dry herbal note is in there. And I'm picking up on almost like a salted caramel when I taste through with water as well. It cuts down on that pepper, any kind of sharp edges there were, there was a little sharpness on the very beginning of the palate. That's cut down rather nicely too. Now, it doesn't remove the flavors, it doesn't make it thin. That's the beauty of a cask strength bottle. You can water it down to your preferred drinking point. Yeah, the fruits are more evident. Not as peppery, not as spiky. With water, it's much more almost like velvety. It's just much more round. And you can pick up on that citrus on the palate even more. And actually, as I'm tasting right now, like a shellfish sort of note, even more coastal. Really lovely. Now, I noticed on my previous Ardnamurchan bottlings, I noticed a bit of a sort of funk to it, which I really enjoy, a slight cheesiness. I don't get that off this cask strength bottling. Maybe that just needs more time to develop with some oxidization in the bottle, drinking it maybe closer to the halfway point. This bottle is certainly going to change as I drink. However, right now, it's beautiful, and I just want to keep drinking it. So, talking about score. This bottle cost me right around $100 Canadian, which is actually what I would pay for a regular bottling of one of the ADs of Ardnamurchan. It's a really great value, and even without value taken into consideration, because I think that's about right for this bottle, I would give this a score of 88 out of 100. If I could buy another bottle of this, I probably would. It's really encouraging to see such a solid product coming out of a young distillery like Ardnamurchan. And that begs the question, is this the best young Scotch distillery in Scotland? It's got a lot of competition. We're talking about the likes of Wolfburn, Lochlee, Daftmill, Torveg, Lindors, Glasgow, Holyrood, Glenwivis, on and on. I haven't tried all of these. However, I have tried a number of them, and just reading what people are saying online, Ardnamurchan seems to be at the front or near the front of the pack. Daftmill had a bit of a head start. They haven't released their whiskey until it hit 12 years of age, which is probably a brilliant move by them. I'm hearing unbelievable things about Daftmill. But my personal experience with Ardnamurchan, they're just solid. And I can only imagine what they're going to be like when they hit 10 years, 12 years, 15 or 18 years. I personally am very excited to see where this distillery goes. Having tasted the 3-year-old whiskey, now I'm tasting 6 to 7-year-old cask strength whiskey. The moon's the limit. It's It's really impressive. If you haven't tried Ardnamurchan, you have to do yourself a favor and get your hands on a bottle or a sample and give it a shot. It's impressive stuff, and I think, at least in my books, it's the most impressive of the young distilleries in Scotland. Happy to be proven wrong. I'm gonna keep trying to prove myself wrong by trying more samples of new distilleries in Scotland, but this is at the top of my list for now. That begs the question as well, what is your favorite new Scotch distillery? Is it Ardnamurchan? Is it Daft Mill? Is it someone I haven't mentioned at all? Go ahead and leave your answer in the comments below. As always, I really appreciate you guys checking out this video. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button and let me know what you think. Either way, thanks again for coming back, and hopefully you come back for more in the future. From the West Coast, Slàinte.